Good evening and many thanks for joining us. You're watching QTV. We're broadcasting live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, and this is the news with me, Ansmane Sonyasi. Here are the main news headlines. In the week of independence commemorations, Lady Chilel Jawara, the widow of Gambia's late President Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, has expressed gratitude for President Adama Barrow's efforts in preserving Sir Dawda's legacy and for supporting her. 47 vendors are to be prosecuted for importation and dealing with the deadly sniper insecticide, which has been banned in the Gambia since last year. The Gambia Immigration Department briefed the media about some of the developments and the challenges they registered during 2022. The Ministry of Gender, in partnership with the World Food Programme and the partners, on Friday handed over a cold storage facility to the women at the Bruford Fish Landing site. And in international news, as voters in Nigeria head to the polls in a few days to vote in the presidential election, many are concerned about which candidates offer new ways to tackle the country's state of insecurity. Stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in focus. Now, in the week of independence commemorations, Lady Chilel Jawara, the widow of Gambia's late President Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, has expressed gratitude to President Adama Barrow for his efforts in preserving Jawara's legacy both locally and internationally. The former Gambia's First Lady has revealed how much President Adama Barrow has supported her since her husband's passing. Mohd Lamin Choi reports.
This is Chilel Jawara, the widow of the late President Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. 2 years on from the death of her husband, she speaks to QTV and sends special thanks and appreciation to President Adama Barrow for his support.
Personally to me, he has been supporting me since my husband left. Everything that you could think of for somebody to live on in the house or to feed on, he's doing it with cars, with rice, with oil, with lamb, sheep, everything he's doing it. Exactly the same when Sir Dawda was alive.
The late President Jawara and Lady Chilel Jawara had a marriage that lasted for 52 years and ended only with his death. The death of her husband, despite his advanced age, was greeted with shock by Gambians. Nevertheless, the end of his life has not led to the burying of his towering legacy in the Gambia. Instead, efforts by President Adama Barrow to keep Sir Dawda's legacy, in addition to personal support to her, have been a source of solace for the late president's widow.
He is a genuine person and he loves Sir Dawda. Because of him, the Gambia did not forget Sir Dawda. He built a national conference center, named it Sir Dawda. ECOWAS, he went to ECOWAS and pledged there about Sir Dawda, the award, and all the head of state agreed. That's a lot, you know, that's a big thing to us.
At a sub-regional level, and being one of the founding fathers of the Gambia River Basin Development Organization, OMVG, and ECOWAS, the late President Jawara's legacy lives on. Since Sir Dawda's passing and during the leadership of President Adama Barrow, international recognition of our late president has been pleasing for Lady Chilel Jawara.
But when he came, and even the AU, he put the photograph of Sir Dawda up now, today, all the way the head of state who started AU, he put it up. It was, nobody could not mention him before, but now he's up there with Julius Nyerere, Sierra Leone, Saka Stephen, and everybody, Jomo Kenyatta. When I went there 15 years ago, I went to visit this hall, the Hall of Fame for the African. I did not see my husband's picture up there. I cried. But Adama Barrow went there and put his picture up. I will never, Jawara Kunda will never ever, the family will never ever forget him for that.
In 2019, during the laying-in state of the Gambia's late statesman, President Barrow described him as a true Pan-Africanist, a democrat, a visionary and compassionate leader who dedicated his life to the attainment of peace, progress and prosperity for the Gambian people. Sir Dawda Jawara was Gambia's Prime Minister and its first president who was at the helm of the country's affairs for over 3 decades, from 1962 to 1994. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
And we continue to remember and celebrate the life and legacy of Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. Now, following the eventual ban on the importation and use of the deadly sniper insecticide in the country last year, the National Environment Agency Inspection Unit has confiscated huge quantities of the substance and other insecticides and pesticides from 47 vendors who are to be prosecuted. Alucise tells us more.
Last year, the Gambia government banned the sale and use of sniper and insecticides and other substances containing the chemical dichlorvos. It followed a public outcry on the misuse of sniper, particularly when it emerged that fish smokers were using it to preserve fish. These confiscated products pose a danger to human health and non-target species if not properly handled and used. The National Environment Agency, which is responsible for enforcing the ban, has confiscated the chemicals in circulation in markets, including Serekunda, Latrikunda, Oluyundum, Wellingara, and Bakoteh, among others. Dr. Dawda Baji, Executive Director of the National Environment Agency, describes the confiscation as a major step towards eliminating all kinds of illegal and non-registered pesticides in our markets. He gave assurances that the exercise is only meant to ensure public safety.
Know that the life you save, like they always said, drive carefully. The life you save may be your own. In this case, you have to make the best use of seeing that the product you use is a product that is meant for you to use. Otherwise, we are on a suicidal mission of our own making. So it is important for us to look at it. I think in total, you have 328 containers, 328 containers of liquid unknown pesticide, as well as 677 packets of unknown pesticide as a result of the work, and 12 liters of unknown pesticide also, as well as 21 kilograms of powdered and granular pesticide, granular. So which means, so now this is all what we see in the market, and we see it. We are there. We normally go to the market, but do you normally care when we say that, oh, any will come here?
Lamin Jaite, Registrar of Pesticides and Hazardous Chemicals, confirms the sniper is not a registered product and therefore is believed to enter the country through smuggling.
The requirements of the law is that anyone who is dealing with pesticides, you should have the competence, the prerequisite knowledge to be able to handle chemicals. So if you do not fulfill these requirements, then therefore you are not eligible to sell pesticides. So we were able to find out that a lot of people are selling pesticides, not just selling pesticides. A lot of people are selling illegal pesticides or banned pesticides. And we also come across people that are actually reformulating these pesticides. Reformulating means that they're now mixing chemicals, unknown chemicals, to form new products and then give them any kind of nomenclature that they want to give.
Selling pesticides and insecticides is a lucrative venture for many, given their widespread use. However, there is growing concern as to the safety and handling of these substances, many of which are not labeled. If found guilty, these defaulters could face a minimum 2-year jail term or a heavy fine of $3,000 and above. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
The Gambia Immigration Department briefed the media on Thursday about some of the developments and challenges they registered during 2022. Loliam Kamara was at the event and filed this report.
The briefing at the immigration's headquarters in Banjul saw department heads give assessment on how their departments performed during the year under review. Commissioner Ibrahim Omane, the head of planning at GID, while giving an insight on the legal regulatory framework, stated that to effectively carry out their work, a 5-year strategic plan has been developed to serve as a guide Commissioner Mane revealed that plans are advanced to change the name of the Gambia Immigration Department.
On or before December, 2023, we are able to have our new Immigration Act passed into law, and hence our name and nomenclature will now change, from a department, and then henceforth will be called as Gambia Immigration Service.
Commissioner Ensa Jawara, the head of processing at the Gambia Immigration Department, explained that his department is responsible for processing the national documents, including the national ID card and the biometric passport. Commissioner Fode Gassama, responsible for migration at GID, while highlighting some of the achievements recorded in 2022, points out that despite the limited capacity, his institution is doing everything possible to ensure that our borders are controlled in terms of entries. Commissioner Gassama revealed that in 2022, about 14 boats that identified as Gambian arrived in Spain.
That 7 out of these 14 boats departed from Mauritania, meaning Gambian nationals will travel by land, go to Mauritania and join these boats. 4 boats out of the 14 departed from Senegal, and it was only 2 boats that departed from the Gambia that arrived in the Canary Islands. There's one that is unknown. We have not established. We are working with our Senegalese counterparts, to ensure and know where this boat departed from.
Commissioner Babukar Jane, head of operations at GID, says most of the GID's operations are done jointly with support from local and international agencies in the country, such as the police and the military. He reveals some pressing issues they face.
From Farafenni to Janjambure, we have only the presence of immigration, only one place, that is in Washu, where you have 115 kilometers. Do we call that a porous? No, that is an open thing. And a lot of people that are coming in through that area would come without seeing an immigration officer.
Superintendent Caroline Jaju, head of statistics and internal audit, presented the GID revenue, performance and migration flow for 2022.
Last year, 2022, we have projected to score 98 million. When the department has put in the strengthening measures to put in place, we have realized that we have scored 104 million this year. That means we have collected over $104 million in revenue in 2022.
Ibrahim Mbu from administration at GID, on behalf of the Director General, responded to some of the issues raised by journalists at the briefing.
We hope that as technical advisory staff, when contracts are to be awarded to our ministries, the immigration should be key involved for the sake of posterity.
On the outlook for 2023, $150 million is the projected revenue set for the Gambia Immigration Department. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara.
And the report there by Loli M. Kamara will lead us to the commercial break. But when we return, we have some more local and international news stories. So stay tuned.
Finger again. Amna lu manqué de.
Lu manqué?
Armanti mayonnaise so amul duma lek.
Maa ngi ñëw man maa jéegi armanti.
Ah.
Noo ko gisee?
Saf na neex na ndax moom ci armanti mayonnaise ak sauce boo ko ciy def rek dafay neex.
Nii la.
Armanti mayonnaise. Ren la am 28 years.
Wow.
Ta cafka mosul ci tegoon tànkam fa la ko teg ba tey.
Man maak armanti dama ko miin. Yàlla dafa dogal armanti dafa doon sama xale.
Yéen jéegi réew mi nee naa leen ñaar fukki at ak juróom-ñett du fukki at ak juróom-ñett déedéet du ay fodde maa la wax lii dugg leen ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique ci biir réew mi am na 500 millilitres 1000 millilitres ak 5 kilos li ci gën a tee dàq mooy def leen indil 25 grammes mooy caatu mayonnaise bi am na margarine bota am na bota ice am corned beef bu yàpp ak bu ginaar am na sardine ak banana milk armanti daal dafa complété lépp ngir noppal jéeg yi seen biir waay.
Armanti product, the good quality food.
in executing its mandate of collecting revenue for national development in a fair and transparent manner. The GRA will recognize and award compliant taxpayers who consistently file their returns and pay their taxes on time and present original and authentic customs documents at the annual Taxpayers Award ceremony. The 5th edition of the annual Taxpayers Award ceremony will take place on Saturday, March 4th, 2023 at the Kairaba Beach Hotel, commencing at 7:30 p.m. This important event will be graced by the President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Mr. Adama Barrow, the executive and members of the business community. A memorable event is assured by the GRA. GRA is your GRA. GRA is our GRA, collecting revenue for national development. The 5th edition of the annual Taxpayers Award, a night to appreciate and celebrate our esteemed taxpayers.
Without paying taxes.
Welcome back after a commercial break. Be reminded you're following QTV News and we're broadcasting from our studios on Kairaba Avenue live. Now, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, in partnership with the World Food Programme and Africa Green Tech Foundation, on Friday handed over a cold storage facility to the women at the Brufut Fish Landing site. Lena E. Igwenyiba has more.
The Gambia's fisheries sector provides food and jobs for many women, who constitute the majority engaged in the sector. Yet, many of these women encounter numerous challenges in preserving fish products due to a lack of proper storage facilities, inadequate access to funds, and the struggle to get fish, among others. This cold storage facility, called a container, will support women in the fish landing sites of Brufut, Gunju, and Tanje to address their challenges with storage and ensure easy accessibility. Peter Kimoto, the World Food Programme representative, outlined the numerous benefits of the container in improving the working conditions of these women.
It is powered by solar energy and will greatly support the women in reducing post-harvest losses in a sustainable and cost-effective way. It will also promote and create business ideas and opportunities, increase economic empowerment of Brufut Women Association, and showcase the benefits of using containers in fresh food preservation.
In the fisheries sector, the role of women is invaluable as they operate at all levels of the value chain, forming a significant number in fish processing and trading. Daisy Tanya Scheffler, director of Africa Green Tech Foundation, says this amazing technology is developed in Africa, adding that capacity building will be conducted for this woman.
So part of the whole launch will be a kick-off training tomorrow with 10 women who will learn how to operate and maintain also the container. And the vision is not that we will end here. No, we want to really transform this place and the whole region, because we see so much potential in growing the economy, but also working together as a community and becoming stronger and more sustainable together.
Maimane, a women's leader, speaking on behalf of women of the Brufut Fish Landing sites, gave thanks for receiving the container.
African Green Tech yen ken amul sen fay. Yalla mo am sen fay. Yalla la yalla fay len.
African Green Tech, we are indebted. May God reward you. It was difficult for us without ice. Our fish perished. We would have to transport it to the cold room in Tipa Garage. But now, the container given to us will help us a great deal. We are very grateful.
Kajali Sonko, Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, thanked their development partners and reaffirmed their commitment to empowering and addressing issues women face.
This is our effort intended to ensure issues of gender are fully mainstreamed into all climate change programs and investment, including interventions. We appreciate the effort of Green Tech Foundation, World Food Programme, the Gambia Red Cross, and the Ministry of Fisheries and Water Resources.
Gambia's fish stocks are a source of revenue and foreign exchange earnings. The container would enhance the socio-economic well-being of its beneficiaries, accelerating development. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Gwinyiba.
The Gambia Participates held a forum with electoral stakeholders on Thursday to discuss the electoral legislation bill, focusing on reforms and abuse of state resources. Mohamed Balde reports.
Organization dedicated to advancing fiscal transparency, anti-corruption and democratic elections through research and advocacy. The dialogue with electoral stakeholders is to reignite discussions on the urgency of the elections bill before the 2026 general elections. Mar Nyang, the executive director of Gambia Participates, expressed his disappointment at the number of parties absent from the event. According to him, an invitation was extended to all political parties present in the country, but only the National Unity Party, the People's Progressive Party, the Citizens Alliance, and the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism attended. He explains the significance of the elections bill.
It was discussed in March 22 that it is an opportunity for us to look at the elections bill and then define the sanctions on the use of state resources. So it's almost a year since that recommendation was made, and today we're here basically based on that particular recommendation that political parties made mention that we should find in legislation to ensure that this is regulated. But also in the legislation there was, as an outcome of that particular engagement, it was also recommended that we should have a compliance department established at the IEC, because one of the things that the political parties were stressing is that the IEC is unable to ensure that there is compliance during the political cycle.
Amar Saibu Kamara, the co-founder and executive director of Fact Check Center The Gambia, spoke about the need to have a new election bill.
The old election decree have been having a lot of loopholes that were supposed to be addressed, that need to be addressed to be able to promote election and electoral integrity in the Gambia. And I believe the conversation around having a new election bill will address a lot of issues. What should be the question is, what measures should we take to ensure that we capacitate the IEC to be able to execute some of these functions beyond just conducting elections, but also to ensure that then the electoral laws are implemented to the fullest, and then those who go against the laws are punished. And I think that way we'll be able to do that. But we need to capacitate them, because if you look at right now, if you talk about legalities and legal matters in the electoral cycle, we will have to say probably they need a compliance unit or a legal unit to be able to address some of these legal issues.
Though the dialogue unfortunately did not include more representatives from the numerous parties, the attendees present engaged in fruitful discussions on electoral reform, with many recommendations being put to the table. Amar Diba is a representative of Citizens Alliance.
In abuse of state resource would require legal reforms. And I'm very glad that a lot of people or speakers have already pointed out the need to have the election bill passed at the National Assembly, because that way we would, of course, do away from the byproduct of the junta, that is the election decree of the military regime under Yahya Jammeh. Unfortunately, even though that law has been severally amended, we still have a lot of loopholes in that law.
All these conversations were had in the spirit of ensuring that the Gambia's electoral process meets the highest standard of what is expected of free and fair elections. Reporting for QTV News, I am Mohamed Balde.
And we now take a look at international news in a moment. Now, as voters in Nigeria head to the polls in a few days to vote in the presidential election, many are concerned about which candidates offer new ways to tackle the country's state of insecurity. More in this report.
Nigerians have endured varieties of serious security threats for a decade, something that is a source of great concern for political leaders and the international community ahead of presidential and general elections on the 25th of February and gubernatorial elections on March 11th. Elections in the country are often tainted by ethnic and religious rhetoric, with past votes marked by violence and fraud, something many election observers hope is not repeated this year. For the last 10 years, the militant group Boko Haram has waged an insurgency in the country, with the northern region at its epicenter. The northwest and central Nigeria have also witnessed waves of kidnappings, in addition to the regular clashes between farmers and herders. Eastern Nigeria has not been spared from the insurgency, with groups trying to revive the former Igbo state of Biafra. On the violence and insecurity, some experts say proliferation of small arms and light weapons across Nigeria is worrying. According to a report by DW, last year alone, the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons seized over 3,000 illicit arms in Nigeria. General Diko Abba, the center's Director General, stressed the importance of halting the influx of weapons. We have introduced a coding system, Abba explained. This coding system has been allocated to each security agency, so tracing becomes easy. But he also mentioned that the task is a challenging one. Now the one weapon that is going to be difficult is the one that does not belong to any sovereign state, which means that weapons has been acquired through the black market, he added. Aside from the threats of insecurity, Nigerians are facing a cash shortage, which caused hundreds of thousands of people to queue at banks and ATM centers to get cash to exchange new banknotes for old. Whoever wins the 25th of February vote will carry the burden of expectations from Nigerians to re-establish security as a priority. Mudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Well, that's all about it for this bulletin, but before we take a leave of you, here's a recap for our main headlines. In the week of independence commemorations, Lady Chilel Jawara, the widow of Gambia's late President Sadauna Kairaba Jawara, has expressed gratitude to President Adama Barrow's efforts in preserving Jawara's legacy both locally and internationally and supporting her. 47 vendors are to be prosecuted for importation and dealing with the deadly sniper insecticide which is banned in the Gambia last year. The Gambia Immigration Department briefed the media about some of the developments and challenges they registered during 2022. The Ministry of Gender, in partnership with the World Food Programme and partners, on Friday handed over a cold storage facility to the women at the Brookfoot Fish Landing site. And in international news, as voters in Nigeria head to the polls in a few days to vote in the presidential election, many are concerned about which candidates offer new ways to tackle the country's state of insecurity. That's it for this edition. Do join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. for our live coverage of the 58th Independence Anniversary commemoration at McCarthy Square in Banjul. Thanks for watching.